Hi friends of YouTube, this is Capun Piso. I want to explain Thanksgiving, its origins, why this tragedy happened. It all started in Europe in about the 1500s with a Catholic monk that suffered from a form of bipolar disorder, schizophrenia. His name was Martin Luther.
The name of blasphemy.
Look at the idiot.
Revelation chapter 13 verse 1.
Look at that.
Ever since Revelation described,
Anybody that believes this nonsense,
believers have struggled
he has a
to get
problem with the brain.
In
Psychotic.
the 13th century, Pope Innocent III named the Prophet Muhammad the Antichrist.
See that? Against the Islamic
During
idiots?
the Protestant Reformation, Martin Luther called the Pope the Antichrist.
See that?
The Pope responded by claiming that Luther was the child of Satan.
Exactly. They're idiots.
Many dictators, from
Deluded people.
Napoleon to Hitler, have been nominated.
The idea of the Antichrist has caught hold in the
And
imagination
Napoleon
of
was
a
the
lot
only
of
one
people,
mentally
and
healthy, or
it's been
in other
reduced
words,
to a single
atheist.
very evil person who
Because
will
Hitler was a
lead the
Christian.
world,
He believed in all that shit. He
under
created
religious
his own
orders.
faith, his own Christian
In
branch.
Revelation, John
Nazism.
leaves a clue to the Antichrist's true identity.
Let him that hath understanding
Look at that.
count the number of the beast.
Matthew.
For it is the number of a man.
They
and his
compile
600
nonsense.
6.
Look at this. In the 4th century, Constantine, the Christus itself, the created. He decided to put one cult among all in the Roman Empire. The most favored was the worship of the Christus. There was that by Julius Caesar, the Christus, which his worship has been disseminated since he was killed, spilling his blood in the 44 BCE. And the first Christians actually were the Jews, the Romans that live in Judea, Palestine. Then they continue, and the whole thing disseminated. The Roman emperor became a Christian itself, and it was a mess. So Constantine decided to establish only one religion, universal, Catholic, of the holy city of Rome when the events took place, and founded the Catholic Church. Well, guess what happened in the 1500s? And they controlled everything, the Catholics controlled with one book that only the priest can interpret. That was the Bible, the Vulgate. So there comes Martin Luther in the 1500s. He got all upset at the Pope and says, oh, you can read the Bible and say, you don't need a priest. So he told everybody. The Germans loved it. The German priest, because everybody was at the yoke of the Pope, the Italian Pope. I mean, the only thing you do is communicate your citizens and your armies, excommunicate you, and your citizens and your armies will not obey you because you're condemned by the Pope. So the Germans were in this situation, the German kings. So when Martin Luther says, oh, you know, you can read the Bible and be saved yourself by talking directly to God, that was very appealing. And that was the beginning of the protesters, the Protestants. So, as the Catholic Church feared, with reason, then you can read the Bible and you can interpret any way you want to. You don't need a priest. So there came Martin Luther, then he came Calvin and all the rest of people interpreting their own Bibles, and many, many Bibles were all over Europe. And this happened in the 1600s. We have a gay man, a homosexual, called James I of England, the King of England. And he didn't like the idea that all his subjects were all fighting, and there were some that wanted to keep all the Christian religion pure and perfect. And they loved Calvin and his Geneva Bible, because England didn't have a Bible. So then many tribes, and there was so many confusion there. So the Puritans loved that Geneva Bible. Well, King James I, a homosexual, a sinner, that has a lover as the Duke of Buckingham and one of his cousins, the Earl of Essex. Anyway, he decided that he was going to just get his own Bible translated. So can you imagine the orgies by all these gay men in the monasteries? All the men? Well, anyway, they had, they took it took 7 years in 4 English cities, and the King James Version of the Bible was born. The Puritans got all so pissed and upset, there were so many fights, that they took off in the Mayflower. Guess where they went with their Geneva Bible? To America. To put their mental illness and all that garbage, the psychotic nuts, into devastating the Americas, just like the Spanish Christ-psychotics did in South America, destroying a couple empires, as I said in my previous videos. So anyway, that was when lunacy came around from England to the Americas with their Geneva Bible. And then, after imposing this stuff, and everything was sex, it was anti-sex, and with the Precious Geneva Bible, and then they started enslaving all the natives, and little by little, with the conniving and with better weapons, with the guns and all that, and then more came around from England, and more tragedies happened, and then they decided to get together and steal food from the Indians and all that. They helped them a lot with the crops, but the stupid, like they usually do, the missionaries, the Christ-psychotic missionaries, they impose their Christian crap and bullshit and psychosis into the native people. They do that all over the world. They don't learn from the natives. They should learn from the natives. Don't impose your stupid garbage on people. Learn from the natives, from other people. Feed your brain. They didn't. That was the main problem.
When the Puritans journeyed to the New World, they brought old fears.
Early Protestantism was very, very devil-obsessed. It was also very anti-sex. So when you get to groups like the Puritans, who went over to America and settled in New England, they brought that baggage with them. They were devil-fearers. They saw the devil all around them.
One of the most effective at instilling the fear of the devil in his followers was Puritan preacher Jonathan Edwards.
But the book that caused the most problems was Revelations, all the prophets that we are a sinner. And imagine people getting horny over there, and all of a sudden they want the sacred orgasm, and they're sin, and they're like, oh God, I can do this. Poor people.
Puritans generated the Salem witch scare of 1692. Once again, there was no defense against a charge of collaborating with the evil one.
The people doing the questioning in witchcraft interrogations often worked from a prepared set of questions. They knew what the devil did.
The Salem scare was small by European standards. Just a score of women tried, condemned, and executed over a single year.
And leave him now. Go from his soul and from his mind in Jesus' name.
Look at this.
Each week, Pastor Tom Brown, a charismatic evangelical Christian, delivers dozens of souls from Satan's grip at the Word of Christ Church in El Paso, Texas.
Christopher.
In Jesus' name. In Jesus' name. There you go. There you go.
And what caused all these visions in Salem was ergot. That's what you make LSD. It's an infection of rye and grasses called Claviceps purpurea. And yet the atrocities began later. That's it, the face of Hitler right there.
At dawn on November 29, 1864, Colonel Shivington and 600 men from the Colorado regiments made their surprise attack on Black Kettle's sleeping village.
Look at that. Surprise attack on innocent people.
People who had gotten up early that morning saw the troops on the horizon, including White Antelope himself, and he thought that it was a mistake. Surely it was a mistake, because they had been told to camp here where they were assured safety. But when the deliberate attack began, he still thought he could stop the troops, and he ran out and cried out in his broken English to stop. And when White Antelope saw that it was a deliberate attack, he stood and began to sing his death song.
Only the earth and the mountains, White Antelope.
I mean, this is disgusting what these piece of shit Christians do. Disgusting. They should be teaching that to all American children in high school, in elementary school.
His Stars and Stripes flag, once given to him by the U.S. military, and raised it above his teepee, to prove they were peaceful Indians.
Oh, they're inferior. They're infidels.
Don't get alarmed and don't be scared. Come to me.
You can't deal with a piece of shit Christians. Impossible.
I promised if I did this, that
you're in India. You're inferior. You don't have a soul.
He hosted a flag and still.
It's like Jews.
And they show signs of no hostility, but still they were attacked.
These people killed. Incredible.
They sent out a little girl, about 6 years old, with a white flag on a stick. She had not proceeded but a few steps when she was shot and killed.
Look at that.
Robert Bent, half Southern Cheyenne, Sand Creek, 1864.
This guy Chivington was a Methodist minister. And then in the 1820s, we had the ChristPsychotic Mormons. And there you will see the results in here. And the people that believe in all this revelation crap with the end of days.
Miller pinpoints when the exact day will come, between March 21st, 1843 and March 21st, 1844. The intervening year comes and goes, but still no rapture.
And they make
Miller rechecks
gowns,
figures and arrives
everything.
at a new date, October 22nd, 1844.
See how crazy these people were?
By now, Miller has attracted an estimated 50,000 disciples.
See that?
On the eve of the big day, some give away all their worldly possessions. Some even purchase special ascension robes for the occasion.
All of his followers gather on the hillsides. They get together and they're praying and they're singing hymns. They're chanting. They've got their hands lifted up to heaven.
Christophrenics.
The next day is known to Miller's followers as the Great Disappointment.
Yep. Lunatics.
It doesn't really faze Miller because he goes on to continue predicting the second coming almost every year until he dies.
Yeah, and Joseph
of course,
Smith.
He had a lot of money on the ascension robes, and so he's got something invested in that.
Joseph Smith has his visions in 1820s.
Is so far that everyone who's predicted it, from John of Patmos to the Y2Kers, has been wrong.
Yes, it's
to scholars, Revelation is so open to interpretation it can mean almost anything.
Yeah, psychotic. Here's a prophecy. I'm full of bacteria. They're eating me up. Radiation is going to make me older. And if I drink about 10 of this, I'm going to be toasted. And I'm going to see gods and demons and spirits and then puke my guts out with all my bacteria leaving.
93. Flames engulf the Mac half a century. Like many cults, the Branch Davidians have a long history of millennialism.
This moron doesn't know that all religions are composed of cults and they begin like
Belief that God will set up a utopian kingdom here on earth.
God, the Christian stuff.
But the world we live in is so evil and corrupt, it be destroyed to make way for God's millennium. In Charles Manson's mind, this would be accomplished by an apocalypse. It would come through the prophecies described.
The biblical book of Revelation is almost hallucinatory in its imagery.
They took a lot of drugs.
It's lush, it's extravagant. It has trumpets, it has monsters, it has almost anything that a fevered mind could imagine. And one of its early scenes is a scene of God seated on a throne, holding a scroll that is sealed with 7 seals.
In the book of Revelation, the Lamb of God begins breaking each of the seals that destroy the earth.
A very dangerous psychosis.
Branch Davidian.
See? Christian hymn. Look at that. There's no morality in Christianity. Look at that.
The cross is the most distinct symbol in the world.
Yeah.
The light upon
symbol of the sun. It nothing to do with crucifixion, retards.
That these crosses burn into your souls.
There you go. There's no soul. There's no God. So created the brain, retards. See how retarded these people are? They're still in the 12th century.
This is white pride. This is white power.
White power, my ass. This is psychosis. That's what it is, retards.
Thanksgiving is an old day and it's passé. Let's give it a new name. So, happy Torture a Christian Day. And to forget their atrocity, just smoke some good Buffalo Varios and have a few beers. Pace Deorum.